This is the story of John D. White, or better known as the Killing Pastor, Part 2. If you want to know more about this case, please continue watching.
You are watching Roll a Mile in My Shoes TV.
This is part 2 of the John D. White case, or better known as the Killing Pastor, where we left off in 1994. 26-year-old Vicky Sue Wall disappeared from Cornstalk Township, Michigan, and White was still married and now had 2 children and another baby on the way. But apparently this did not stop him from going on his little killing adventures. White worked at a maintenance job at a textile company where he met Wall, and the two had an affair. Surveillance video from a grocery store parking lot showed Vicky Wall getting into a black pickup truck with a bearded man at 3 a.m. It was the last time anybody ever saw her alive. White was picked up for police questioning and admitted the affair with Wall, but he claimed he dropped her off safely later on. Police didn't believe White's claims, but there was no body and no real evidence to charge him. So even though this man was committing all these heinous crimes, police didn't really have anything to, I guess, hold him at that point, because like I said, they had no body, so there's no real evidence, so there's no proof that he committed a murder, which is, kind of insane that he was able to, I guess, get rid of these bodies for as long as he did, or not leave any evidence behind for anybody to find, which in turn helped him, I guess, evade capture for as long as he did. Now, even though I consider this man to be a sick little evil man, he wasn't actually able to hide her body for that long, seeing as investigators were actually searching for this woman, because 6 weeks later, her body was found dumped in a rural area 2 miles from the grocery store where he and her were last spotted on video camera. And they said that her body was so badly decomposed that investigators couldn't determine the cause of death. And she was naked except for a shirt and a bra that was found around her neck. So I'm willing to guess that maybe he used her bra or her bra strap as a method of strangulation, or what he would use to help strangle her, if that's, what was, her cause of death. Because like I said, her body was so badly decomposed, they couldn't really determine the cause of death, which is really sad because, I guess since he was so sick, he, in his mind, that was a part of his method, because not only, did this man strangle this young lady, he basically had sex with her corpse too, because you have to remember, he has that type of fetish. I think it's called necrophilia, where people like to have sex with dead bodies or corpse. although he was eventually picked up for what he had did to Wall, he refused to talk to police or take a lie detector test. But the investigators did a luminol test on his pickup truck, and it showed evidence of blood in several areas, but the evidence was severely limited. And due to this lack of evidence, White agreed to plead no contest, and for this, he received an 8 to 15 year sentence in prison. Now, I just can't understand if they did this testing and it showed that there was blood in his truck, and it was her blood, even though it was, I guess, a little bit of blood. I'm pretty sure that if it was enough, they could assume that there's no way that this young lady could have lost that much blood in these many areas in that truck. And, basically could give him more time than what they actually did. But I guess, depending on the little bit of evidence or lack of evidence that they had to work with what they were given. So I guess everything that was done was what could be done in her case anyway. But, I just feel like this man was so sick and twisted that he basically got away with his crimes for as long as he did, because it seemed like he knew on some level how to get rid of a lot of evidence so that he wouldn't, I guess, be able to be traced back to anything. Or even if they did find a little bit of evidence, he could say, oh yeah, she always rode in my truck, and one time she cut her foot, or whatever he might use as his lie for the blood being there. Who knows? And I think, in some ways this helped him, and I think he kind of took advantage of that over time. And I also think, the police who were investigating the case also felt the same way, because a sheriff's deputy said about the case, you'd like to see him go away for life, but you get what you can get. So I guess he's pretty much saying what I just said. Like, you want to see him locked up for life because, the evidence points to he is the cause for this person's death or disappearance. And even though there was little evidence, you have to kind of, I guess, take what you can get in certain situations. And that was the best that they could give him, in response to the evidence that was found. So, I guess, he feels about the same way I do, because, anybody in their right mind would know that, it clearly shows that he did this and he was the last one to see her alive. So, like he said, you kind of have to take what you can get in certain situations. And I guess that was, what he, got for that crime that he committed, among probably so many others. While this sick psycho was behind bars, he actually admitted to a prison psychologist that he had violent fantasies about wanting to have sex with women's dead bodies after he killed them. He served more than 12 years in prison and was released in 2007. And that's really scary if you think about it, because, this man doing what he had done, he should have been locked away forever, in my opinion, because this would have saved, the people that he went on to hurt and kill. But once he was free, he then migrated north and found religion and became a pastor at the Christ Community Fellowship Church in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. A few years later, he was living in a trailer park 11 miles of Mount Pleasant and was engaged to Sally Gay. In the weeks leading up to October 31st, 2012, he began having bizarre fantasies about sex with dead women yet again. In the early hours of Halloween, after drinking several beers. Now, let me pause right there because I'm not against, I guess you could say, people drinking, but I was under the impression that pastors or preachers, whatever you want to call them, or men of the church don't drink. And I know people make the whole statement about, well, Jesus turned water to wine. Okay, that's neither here nor there. But I thought that men didn't drink. And especially in his case, he didn't have any business consuming anything that would alter his state of, his state of mind, because he was already sick and demented as it was. So, he didn't need anything to alter his mind state. So he shouldn't have been drinking in the first place. So that's bad in and of itself because, like I said, he was already sick in the head. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to leave me a like, share the video, comment in the comments your thoughts on this down below, and please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.